Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Today we're back with Superfilm support. Remember, you can go to www.superfilmsupport.com, ask me anything about film photography, and I'll answer you on a video here on YouTube. So this time we have an email that someone sent me to a different email address, so please go to Superfilm support, but I send it to myself. From Anthony, he says, I love medium format. He most used camera is a Fuji GS645. He wants to step up to 6x7, 6x9 and play with movements. Can you recommend a field camera that you can shoot medium format, give me movements, and give me the opportunity to try 4x5 in the future? A must would be a rotating back, must shoot in portrait orientation, which is what he mostly shoots. He's not worried about a rangefinder, and he's not going to be hand holding it. So throughout the history of photography, medium format and large format, there's been a couple cameras that have done that same thing he's asking. One of them is this Horseman VHR. If I'm not wrong, this is the VHR, yes. There's a couple in the same name. There's some that are like 685, 69, something like that. You can Google it. This is a whole family of cameras from Horseman. This is basically like a field press camera that has a rangefinder. In this case, they come without a rangefinder, does medium format, and they used to sell, and you can find them secondhand, a back that would adapt to 4x5. This would be the camera that could suit Anthony. But I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a bit more context on why I think that is not a good idea. First of all, this camera is super capable. It has a bunch of movements on the front standard, has some stuff on the back standard. It's rotating back. It's handheld if you want to, but also tripod, comes with cams, all these things. Super featured. It's amazing what they managed to do with this small camera. But that's the problem. It's a small camera. So for example, lens boards have to be extremely small. As you can see on the B camera, this is the normal lens board for the Horseman. This is a Linhof lens board, for example, for the normal Linhof cameras. So what happens is it's hard to put certain lenses on this camera because they have to come into this little board. Then these little boards come in here, and then the movements are quite limited. They're okay for medium format, but when you want to do 4x5, you're going to be more limited because you want to use bigger lenses because of that crop factor. From medium format to large format, you want to use a 150 or a 210. You're going to be limited. Then if you want to shoot 4x5, it's super cumbersome to use the back. It's a whole module that you have to add to the back. It's expensive in general. This camera sells for around $500 to $800, and then the module is about a couple hundred on top of that, which you're getting into the terrain of a 4x5 camera. So I don't recommend this and then go 4x5 with this camera. I would recommend either something like the Alvandi medium format camera that just came out, the Alvandi Panoral 679, which is amazing, but it can't do 4x5 that I know of. You maybe want to ask Alvandi. Maybe he does let you use some sort of modifier. And that's going to be a hefty price to get into, but then you kind of like have it all. It's a technical camera. It's a great camera. It has lens cones. It's sold new, all these things. Or the other way that I would recommend that is a little easier is you can go a full 4x5, but not start with 4x5. You can buy a Chamonix, you can buy a Linhof, you can buy a Vista, a Horseman, a Toyo, an Intrepid, so many different cameras, which I have videos for that if you want to, and you can just search 4x5 camera and there'll probably be a few of my own videos. But what I would do is buy a large format camera that's small enough. You're going to use it on a tripod. You want a rotating back, which is fairly easy to find out there. And then use medium format backs. So you can shoot a 6x7 back, 6x9 back, 6x12 back, 6x whatever you want pretty much on that camera. Use medium format lenses. In the case of like the coverage, you can use like the 47 non-XL, which is like 6x9 lens. You can use the 35 XL. You can use some of the Horseman lenses that we have here. You have other options. And then if you want to step up to 4x5, you just take off that medium format back. You stick a 4x5 film holder, get 4x5 film, lenses, and you are ready to shoot large format. So it's a little bit of a drawback, but this camera is pretty big in itself. It's kind of heavy, probably just as heavy as a Chamonix 4x5. Price-wise, depending on all the bits and pieces, it's not going to be that much different to buying a large format camera. And honestly, you get the bigger and better size. Like everything in this camera is just small. Like you can see the rise is just like this little bit of rise. It's geared, which is amazing. It has all kinds of things like shift sideways and raise and fall, and then has like tilt front and back. I have to check how to do that because I forget every time. But yeah, this camera has everything, but it's all very small. It's all crammed into this small body. And the other way around, on a 4x5 camera, using a bigger camera, air quote bigger, to shoot a smaller format. And also you're using the middle of the lenses, which is usually the best part of the lenses. So you're gonna get pretty good definition and pretty good sharpness. And yes, you're cropping in to a 4x5 lens, and 4x5 lenses usually deliver less resolution in general because they're meant to use a bigger piece of film, but you're probably never gonna run into an amazing amount of like bad quality. So yeah, I recommend that, Anthony. I would go ahead and maybe go into the 4x5 with a medium format back, using 4x5 lenses or whatever large format lenses you decide to pick, 4x5 or 5x7, 8x10, they're all kind of the same thing, just different circles. Then getting something like this, working with this, which I got this thinking it'd be amazing. It's so complicated to use. I would love to use it more, but it's just like, once I set this up, I'm like, why am I not using a 4x5? Like that's basically how I find it. And then another thing that's kind of annoying is the back is really small. When you want to compose and you want to focus in there, your loop is going to be a pain in the neck. Like it's so small, you basically bump into the corners super fast. I even find that on 4x5, but of course it's way worse on 6x9, which is this camera. And this camera can shoot 6x9, 6x7, and all that stuff. So yeah, that was Super Film Support for this week. As always, remember, this show is mostly sponsored by you guys, so Patreons or donations, I'll leave those links below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.